Hey guys, we're live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today I brought another eBay seller, the eBay Hustler. How are you doing today?
Good, can't complain.
Well, good. Go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell people, what your name is, who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
All right, well, my name is Dave, and the channel here is the eBay Hustler. I just thought that would be a catchy name for the YouTube channel, I guess, whatever it's called. And I'm, I guess now a full-time seller from northern Utah, and I was born and raised in California. And I moved here in 2007 to go to paramedic school, and I kind of dinked around with that for a while, and then a lot of things happened and it got me to where I am now. I mean, you probably want to go into that, or I don't know, or
Well, sure. We got plenty of time today, so we're in no big hurry. I just first of all, just wanted to see how your day was going and how you're doing and how you're feeling. And let me say hey to a few people in the chat. We have the Lone Star Picker in here. Wendy was in the chat, and I wanted to say hey to Estena and Nina. So we're in the live stream chat, so we'll have viewers that will drop in and ask questions along the way. So sure, I'm a recent subscriber of your channel, and I was watching your video, and so you officially quit your full-time job. So you're a full-time reseller now, correct?
yeah, I just pretty much walked out.
So
I just
you just had enough of it one day and was like, "Peace out, I'll see you," and you just left. And so how has that been going for you? I mean, you don't have no regrets or anything. I mean, has that been going well for you?
the way I kind of describe it is if you know what Stockholm syndrome is, when you just been kind of ground down by the system and you kind of still feel attached to your abuser. Not that the working where I was like an abusive relationship, but emotionally maybe, but it's kind of like that. But it's kind of also like when you get those animals that get hurt. And I think I went over this in the video, or one of my videos, when you got the animal, the wild animal, and you keep it caged and it kind of gets used to being caged and fed and taken care of, but just enough, and then you go release it, it kind of lingers around the cage for a while. Most of the time, at least on the shows I watched, they don't just jam back into the forest. They kind of got used to their captivity. But that's how it was the first couple of days. And then I kind of had this lingering, like, the sense of doom that, oh no, Monday's coming and I have to go back to work. And then you remember, wait, no, I don't. I don't have to go back there. And then after that, luckily, I mean, if we could go back, I used to so I went to paramedic school. I thought I wanted to be a firefighter. So I was doing EMT stuff in Southern California, got a ton of experience, came here to paramedic school. I got on with a volunteer department, and I got to, during your paramedic ride-alongs, you have to do 2 months of ride-alongs at a full-time fire department. And I knew by then I'd been an EMT for almost 9 years, so I knew the drill. I knew how to get hired. Shut up, do what you're told. That kind of thing. So they were, I mean, kind of impressed by me, and they basically said, "Go get your fire certifications, and we're going to hire you." So I said, "Sweet, let's go do that." Well, I go to the volunteer department, come to find out, I don't like fighting fires. I was claustrophobic. I mean, anybody who says they're not scared, they're lying, because it's scary, it's dirty, it sucks, it's hot. I always liked the medical stuff. Didn't have any problem with that, but I just didn't do the fire thing. And at first I thought that was the main reason, but I kind of experienced the same symptoms with my job that I just quit, to where, so that was probably 2015 when I quit there, and then I got a job at a plasma donation place as a medical person. So I do the physicals, to make sure you're eligible to donate, and I would handle people who are sick or passed out from the donation. And then I worked there and I hustled, because that's what we're told as Americans. If you work hard, and you'll get ahead in life, and good things will
Right.
happen, and rainbows and everything. So I did that, and then I became the supervisor of the medical department. So then I did that, and at the same time, our manager at the time started this like self-improvement thing. So he's tried to
Right.
get the management team to read a bunch of books, and it first started out with Jocko Willink's book, Extreme Ownership. So I read that, and then I ended up reading all his books. I read, Seven Habits, all the typical management self-development books that you can think of. And then the other people in the management team weren't doing it. Like, the one guy, he would joke that he didn't even take the plastic off and he knew what it was about. He didn't need to do that. And so I was kind of working my butt off trying to improve. And then these other guys were just kind of drifting. And so later I got promoted to be an operations supervisor. So that's just pretty much, there's a manager, assistant manager, and then me. And so I had finally at that point made enough to at least break even on my bills. So I got there, and then that was probably the end of 19. I got demoted because the company was losing money. So it was either lay off a bunch of people or demote a bunch of people. So I became like a glorified supervisor to where they docked me about $5,000 a year, got rid of my bonuses, but I was still doing the same job. Still in my mind, I was thinking I'll just work hard and keep going and keep going. So that would have been in November of 19. I started eBay in February of 19, just as a way to, because at that point I had finally broken even. So now I'm thinking, okay, Dave Ramsey says I'm supposed to go get these side jobs so I can pay off my debt and be free. So let's go do that. So that's when I started eBay, but really recreationally, not anything, extreme. I might have had 300 or 400 or 500 listings. I didn't really care about shipping on time. It was just, a way to get money. But then that slowly built. And as you look back in time, you can kind of see how, I don't know, God or the universe or whomever, kind of sets you up, and you can kind of see like, oh, I see what you were doing there. But thank God that I had eBay built to where when I got demoted, it was able to fill that void, and I didn't really get that hurt from that demotion. So that was in the end of 19 and 20. I was really pissed off, and I was still kind of pissed off at the company, but 20, I definitely was. I was just ridiculous. I'm manning mutinies and getting people that, I was an undercover bad employee, like I was just really disgruntled. But I also picked up my eBay sales, significantly started taking it more seriously. And then, like even the beginning of this year, I was still thinking, people would say the real grind, the real hustle is working full-time and doing full-time eBay or Amazon or something like that. That's the real hustlers do that. And then I was kind of thinking, I'm just being lazy. I should maximize my hours at one place and maximize my hours at the other one. And the kids, they'll deal with it. I can be with them later, or I'll exercise later, or I'll do all my hobbies and live later,
Right.
And I found that was beginning to make me even more resentful and I'm thinking, I'm really a straightforward guy, so I don't mind telling you at this place I was, after taxes, I was earning like $13 an hour, so I wasn't getting rich. I could go work almost any job in the state I live at and make $13 an hour. I could go work construction. I could, you name it, you could do it for, 10, 12, 13 an hour. It's not hard, especially in Utah. A lot of places are hiring. So I kind of had that in the back of my head that it's not like I'm, a lawyer or CEO and I'm making tons of money and this is going to be a big hit. It was that by the time I quit, I was like last year, I made 3 times more on eBay than I did at my normal job.
Right.
So it kind of became an excuse. My normal job became an excuse not to go full time. It was a way to validate my fear of not going. Like, oh no, I have to keep my job because what would I do without the income? And then if you really do the math and you say, well, hold up, that's 15. I was making $1,500 a month there, and I was putting in 120 hours. I'd cut my hours down as far as I could go and not lose benefits, which was 30 hours a week, which honestly, most days I'd leave early to go source anyway, or I'd call in sick to go source, so I'm at most I was putting in 30 hours, making, $650 to $800 a paycheck if I, around there. So that's not, I'm not getting rich off that. If anything, there came a point when that job was holding me back, and sure, like no excuses. I could have planned my day better and I could sit here and say, oh, well, I got those late ships because I had to go to work. Well, no, I could have shipped it that night or whatever. But truth be told, it was holding me back. It was definitely not good for me mentally. And still I was fighting it. Like every day I would walk from my car to the office and I would just tell myself, okay, we're going to be humble today. We're going to serve the employees. It's just your ego. You're just being prideful. And then the day I left, it was just like, it would actually for a couple months before that, it was just screaming at me like, just leave, just go, you're going to be fine, just get out of here. And that day, I think it was a Wednesday or a Thursday, I don't remember which, but it was just, no, it was Monday, as a matter of fact. Yeah, it was Monday, 2 Mondays ago. I just walked in and it was like I knew I didn't belong there anymore. It wasn't me. It was a normal crappy day. Like, and the morale there was so low. The management was horrible. It was just blowing up as usual. Multiple people calling in sick, and I said, hell with this. And I just went. The one thing that there was this guy there, and he just turned 63. And he's one of these older guys that once you get him going, probably like I'll be when I'm 63, they just start talking and they won't shut up. But he's a really nice man, Um, he's 63 and
Right.
he has leukemia. And so he just has to start treatment. And he was earning less than me. I was a supervisor. He was just someone that would screen you and take your vital signs. So he's probably before tax making like 14 an hour before tax. And I mean, he's a stand-up guy. He raises family, support his wife. He does what a man should do. But he's 63 and he's working a line job. I'm his supervisor. And I was just looking at him while he's talking. And I thought, here's this awesome dude, a great guy, just the nicest guy. He's dying of leukemia. I mean, he's going to die. He has cancer. It's not like, let's be real. And he's going to die and he's going to work until he dies. And that's exactly what my dad did. My dad died. My dad worked 36 years as a welder. And he died in debt, and I'm paying off his mortgage because I'm living in the house I inherited from him. So I'm paying off his debt. He died in debt. My mom worked 3 jobs. She died. No retirement, no fun time. And so one of my videos, I go over it, like when you start looking at the situation that Americans, especially people in the West, have kind of fallen for probably the past 100 years is, you go to school and we don't even go to school anymore for learning. Why are you going to school? Well, so I can get a job. Well, I need a job so I can go buy stuff. Well, why need to buy stuff? Well, I don't know. Nobody knows. It's just what we do. It's like we're in this weird simulation video game, and it just goes on and on and on. I go from this box and I wake up and then I drive to another box and I earn these things so that I can go to another box and spend these things, and on and on and on. And you do that till you're 65, 67. Then you retire and hopefully you saved your money and you didn't waste your health, because now you got 8 years till the average age of death, and you get 8 years. Good job. Like my dad, he retired at 58 and he had a good pension. He had like, I think it was 90%, 95%, but he died, he 58. He only lived 9 years. So he worked 37 years to have 9 years, and like 3 of those were taking care of my mom. So he got 6 years to live his life, and I once you factor all those things in and you think it's riskier for me to stay where I'm at. I have 3 kids. I want to get to know my kids. I want to enjoy my kids. I don't want to just see them I think, like, for me growing up, you see your parents when you might, like, I grew up a Mormon, and here in Utah, well, in California, but now in Utah, and at 8 you get baptized. At like 12 there's another touchstone. At 16 you can date and you start driving, and then 18 you graduate, and then that's pretty much it. I didn't spend a lot of time with my parents. So there was the little league, but other than that, nothing. So I take a lot of pride in knowing what my kids are up to. I'm my kids' friends. We go do martial arts together. We exercise together. Like this past 2 weeks have really been awesome because, I wake up at about 6:30. I do my personal development stuff, which is like reading, journaling. You do some devotional. I list my drafts for the day. Then I go exercise. Then my wife comes out and she exercises with me. Then we come in, we make breakfast. We do wake the kids up. We do our homeschooling, and then I might list, or I might ship, or I might be on a video thing with you, and it's just freedom. And as far as like affording it, I mean, yeah, what we talked about earlier, there is that worry, like, well, what if something happens to eBay, like the company goes bankrupt or something? But then I just start playing the odds. I mean, life is a game of odds. And as far as like getting copyright strikes or whatever strikes you can get on eBay, those are controllable for the most part. You just don't do them. You don't piss people off. You don't, like one of the things that can hurt you is negative feedback. You provide there's remedies to this. You provide excellent customer service. You ship quick. You answer their questions. You don't sell them junk. You don't rip them off. They're not going to leave you negative feedback. If you do make a mistake, refund them. I don't care. I'll refund a $50 item because it's not worth losing thousands of dollars just because someone wants to return a $50 item. I'll write that off on my taxes anyway. It's not huge. Granted, you can't do that with all your items, but you have to run it right like a business, not like a garage sale. So
right. Dave, let me get a few words in here, Dave. So
sorry.
First of all, guys, if you guys aren't following Dave, the eBay Hustler, his link is down below. And before this recording, he's like 4 subscribers away from 1,000 subscribers. So if you guys would go and follow him down below, he's a 6-figure eBay reseller and he's a full-time reseller. And so I'm a subscriber of his channel. And if you guys could do me a favor and do Dave a favor, click the link down below and subscribe to his channel. He only needs 4 more subscribers and he'll be at 1,000. So I would definitely appreciate it. I wanted to say hey to a few people in the chat. Jen's Closet Gems is in the house. She says, hey, Jeff and eBay Hustler. We got Cheap Fine Gold Mines. He says the education system, for the most part, is a scam. I wanted to say hey to Katie Reeds is in the chat. And I wanted to say hey to Chris. Flip the World is in the chat. So if you guys have questions for our guest, like I said, he's a full-time reseller and he's a 6-figure eBay reseller. So if you have questions for him about how he does sourcing, how he plans out his day, goal setting, time management, any of that, go ahead and let him have it. So I just wanted to say hey to the chat. And I wanted to say that I don't know in your state where you're at in Utah, here in Florida, they just very recently passed the minimum wage to like $15 an hour here in Florida. And so what I was going to say is that that's the minimum wage. That's if you're a 16-year-old kid working the drive-thru at McDonald's is $15 an hour. Yeah. And so what I was going to say is that even if you're a full-time reseller, you could have a slow couple of weeks, slow month in sales, and it's okay to have other streams of income. One of the things I used to do on the side just to make some extra money is I would go deliver pizzas, and I would go work Saturday and Sunday night. And between the money I made on my paycheck and the money I made in tips, you'd make $400 in 2 days, just on Saturday, Sunday delivering pizzas. And I would just do that. And you figure, let's say you worked 20 hours. Let's say you worked 10 hours Saturday, 10 hours Sunday, and you made $400. Well, that's still $20 an hour, but that's, 75% of the money you're bringing home is tax-free because they're giving it to you in tips. So I'm just saying there's other ways out there that you can generate an income besides just reselling. If you're like, man, I'm afraid if I go full-time, I'm not going to be able to pay my light bill, or I can't pay my rent, or, groceries or whatever. There's other ways you could generate income on the side. So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more on your journey. So you were at this job, and one day one thing led to another, and you were still doing your reselling on the side, right? And you just got to a point where you're just like, okay, enough's enough. I've got enough money set aside. I've got my bills taken care of. I want to be able to be a full-time reseller, be a full-time dad, and spend time with my kids and my family. But I want to be able to kind of live life on my terms and become a full-time reseller. Right. So I want to talk to you a little bit on kind of how that journey was for you and how you went about doing that, because you were in a reseller for a couple of years before you decided to quit your full-time job. So can you talk a little bit about that transition in case somebody else is in a similar situation?
Well, as far as like how you're ready, or just how I did it?
Yeah, you can just talk about your journey and talk about how you did it and what led you to that point where you're just like, hey, because the thing is, you have to have enough backstock and enough inventory listed in order to float the. But you can't just do it day one and be like, see ya. You have to build up. You have to build up a backlog of inventory to do that. So, kind of talk a little bit about your journey and how that was for you and what your mindset is, because I feel like you have a really similar mindset. I'm a subscriber of your channel and I've been watching some of your videos. So, talk a little bit about what your mindset was, and talk a little bit about how you got to that point where you're like, hey, I think I'm going to try being my own boss for a change and see how that goes.
Well, it was I probably started bugging my wife in last February that I wanted to quit. I want to quit. But she is always the check. She's always checking me. So she knew I wasn't ready, and I knew I wasn't ready. You're right. Like, you have to have, I guess it had been, 2019 was definitely a learning year. If it wasn't even a year, it was 10 months. And I didn't make, I think I only made like $10,000 that year after I did my taxes.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was just rinky dink around the house. You know, what do they say? It's something like you either go to school to learn or you learn the hard way, and you have to pay to learn, something like that. So I paid a lot of money to learn the hard way. You know, I
Yeah.
probably, I started out, I think I started out right. I started out the typical way, which is what I recommend, selling things from my house. You know, one of the first things I sold was little ammunition boxes, little cardboard vintage 22 boxes without the ammunition. But I looked them up and they sold for like $8 each, and I had like 50 or 60 of them. So I just grouped them up and I just built up, and then I started doing the thrift store thing and just building up. And then I got into Amazon liquidation from you know, different websites, liquidation.com, these kind of things. And I probably jumped in way too fast because when I started tracking my costs and stuff, I realized I'm paying like $8-9 an item, and I'm not selling them for that much. I'm kind of an idiot. So I learned that the hard way. And there's a web, or not a website, a channel here called Pro Duo Flippers. It used to be Pro Solo Flippers, I
Yeah, I
think.
had
He's
them
out
on
of
the
Idaho.
channel about a month ago. Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
So I bought his spreadsheet, but I'm kind of an idiot, so I didn't really follow his spreadsheet well. I was doing my cogs wrong. So when I went to my tax lady, she goes, you know, what the heck is this? Like, this isn't really how you're supposed to do it. And so she had to reverse engineer it. This is my 2020, and it took her like
Yeah.
2 weeks to look at that spreadsheet and figure out what the heck was going on. So that was definitely something I had to learn that I would recommend you guys get squared away before you make this jump. I use GoDaddy bookkeeping now. It's $9.99 a month, and it integrates completely with eBay. So whenever anything happens on eBay, it goes right over. The only thing I enter in is pirate ship and mileage. Those are the only
Yeah.
two things that I have to enter in. But my mindset, I've always been like, I guess, libertarian minded. I never have wanted people to tell me what to do. I always buck the system. I just don't like that. That's going back to the firefighter thing. Like, it's a good job. It's a steady job. It's a for sure income for 30 years if you don't get hurt. But then just the thought, as I was thinking, sitting there almost going to get what I thought I wanted, just the thought of thinking like, I'm going to be stuck there for 30 years. I'll always be that. I didn't want that. Something in me, it bugged me, and I just didn't do it. And that was the same thing here. I was just looking at that guy, 63, and it's like, Jesus, am I going to be that guy? I don't want to be that guy. Like, the way he takes care of his family, that's admirable. But as far as being 63 and still working a line job, I want more out of my life than that. And that's why
Yeah.
eBay, I think, is really good. Any e-commerce or any way that you can make money, like you said, side hustling, anytime you can do that and live life on your own terms, at least for me, I'm going to be happier. And
Yeah.
like, I realized that I'm the kind of guy that I can't have a plan B. Like that having that job as my safety net was holding me back. I now know that I'm working a lot harder now and taking eBay a lot more serious now that it is my job, rather than just, oh, it's just this thing I do on the weekends. You know, it's just, it wasn't good. So, I mean, my mindset is definitely there as far as I can't have a backup plan. eBay's it. In
Right.
fact, you mentioned about having money set aside. That's definitely something I'd recommend, because I quit. I didn't have any. I had one paycheck. That's it. Other than that, no money set aside. Just screw it. Burn the bridge. I'm out.
Well,
There I
what did
am.
your wife say when you came home and just like, hey, sweetheart, I just quit my job and I'm going to do this full-time eBay thing. I just decided not to show up to work from here on out. Like, what was she cool with that, or did you guys have a little chat? How did that go?
Well, you know, we've been married for what year is this? Towards like 18 years. We've been together for 20 years. So she
Yeah.
pretty much knows me, and she knew that pretty much any day that could happen. I mean, I'm like that. I went. My whole life is pretty much. I went from being scared to swim to like 3 years later, I'm a lifeguard. You know,
Right.
it's just I'm a random weird dude like that, where I'll just switch, and when I switch it, I'll do it, and that's it. I'm gonna do it. So as far as like, what if this doesn't happen, or what if this doesn't work? For me, that's really what they call the scarcity mindset. If you're always, it's kind of like, I explained it to my wife, like when you're
Yeah.
dating other men, And there were men that were always clawing and always calling you and bringing you stuff. Were you attracted to them? And she said, no. And I said, right, because they were too needy. There was that scarcity mindset. And I find that the more I want it, the more I push, the more I try to force things, they don't happen. So when I just am consistent, I wake up, I list my drafts, I source, I ship on time, then the flow just happens and you make sales and it's all good. And I don't worry about it. I don't let those negative thoughts in. I just keep grinding, because the one thing that's good about eBay is the algorithm's pretty predictable. If you ship on time, eBay likes that. If you list frequently, eBay likes that. If you provide good customer service, eBay likes that. So I see myself as an eBay employee. So as an employee of eBay, I want to represent the company well by doing those things. And I found that if you do that, you make more sales. I've had multiple negative feedbacks, at least 3 taken away. And all they do, because you got to remember, when you call eBay, they're looking at those messages that you send to the person. And they can see that buyer's really not very nice. And you're being extra nice. So bink, they just take that negative feedback right away. And just flip it.
So since we're talking about eBay, and this is your full-time job, and you've been doing this for a couple of years, you make 6 figures a year gross on eBay. Now, what would you recommend if somebody's kind of doing it part-time and they want to scale up and make this their full-time income? Like, let's say I'm doing it and I'm going to garage sales on the weekend. Let's say I'm making $1,000, $2,000 a month, and I want to get to the point where I can make $8,000 or $10,000 a month, or I can get to the point where I'm making 6 figures a year as an eBay reseller full-time. Do you have some tips or tricks or recommendation that you can give to me and my audience that would help them?
Well, I'm just going to steal Chris from the Daily Refinement. I mean, what he would tell you to do is, if you want to make 50 grand, you have to list 50 grand. You can't. And that hit me when he said that, when I saw him, because you're thinking, how the heck am I supposed to make $90,000 if I've only got $30,000 listed? The math doesn't add up. Or if I'm not treating it, you have to treat that business like it's worth that much. If you're only sourcing Saturdays and for a couple hours, and then you might list on Sunday, or you might list on Wednesday, that's not, I mean, if you're real with yourself, you have to look at what you're doing and saying, is this consistent with someone who deserves that income? This is not, I tell my wife, like, eBay is not, it's not difficult physically, but you have to do it. There is work there. It's not digging a ditch like my dad used to do, but it's constant grinding. You can't just piece out and say, oh, well, screw it, I'm not shipping for 10 days. No, you can't do that. You're attached to that computer, unless, of course, you put your store on vacation mode or something like that. But if you make sales, you have to ship. You have to list. So if you wanted, well, how I did it was I started making small goals. So I was at 500 listings for the longest time, and I said, I want to do more. So I said, let's get it to 7. And then I just started listing. I got it to 7. And then I was there. It seemed like I couldn't get above 750. And I was there for a couple months, and I said, let's see if I can get to 9. And so I went to 9. And then once I got to 9, it was probably, I don't know, 4 months ago or so, said, we're going to go to 1,000. And that's when I started looking into, I don't know if you know the Daily Refinement.
I had Chris on from Daily Refinement about a month ago. He just had a little baby girl. So
yeah, right.
If you guys have seen him, he's been missing in action. It's because he just had a kid. I talk to him sometimes. I send him an email on Instagram, but I don't bother him too much because he just had a new baby. And when you're working a full-time job, you're a full-time YouTuber, full-time eBay seller, and now a parent. It's kind of like, oh yeah, I don't have time to deal with Jeff's messages on Instagram, but I still message it from time to time, or even if he doesn't read it, just like, hey, I'm here for you if you need to talk. Thumbs up, keep going. Because sometimes you have doubts, you have fears in your brain, and I'm just like, hey, if you're having a bad day or you need to talk, I'm here for you. Come tap me up. I'm here. We can talk. So, but yeah, man, I had Daily Refinement on, but go ahead, continue.
Nice. And basically what I've done is I didn't reinvent the wheel. Like there's Craigslist Hunter out there, there's Daily Refinement, there's Lonnie, there's a bunch of these other channels that I would just look at and go, geez, man, how can I do that? Like Shed Flips, right? Lonnie at Shed Flips. He's out there every single day, and he does YouTube videos every single day. And so I thought he's where he's at because he's willing to do that. It's none of us are out here. I mean, he might be a rocket scientist, but none of us are rocket scientists that I know of. The people who separates you is there's people who are willing to put out a YouTube video every day. And there's people who are willing to list every day. And those are the ones that upscale and make it big. It's the ones that go, I don't want to do that, or they flake or whatever it is, or they a
Yeah.
lot of times. I mean, if we're going to be real, I'll make excuses and I'll blame it on, oh, the kids will do this, or I have to do this. No, you don't. There's ways
Yeah.
around it. You can structure your day, and it goes with anything. It goes with your exercise, with your sleep, with your business, with your relationship with your wife. If you really look at it, most of the time it's your own either laziness or you're putting it off.
Yeah.
If you want to do these things, you just fix yourself and you can do them. It's not difficult. eBay is not difficult. You just have to do it.
Yeah, I was going to say eBay is easy to do, but it's easy not to do. It's especially if you have a full-time job and you're like,
Yeah.
man, I just came home, I just got a shower, I just did the laundry, I just cooked dinner, and then you
Yeah.
turn on a TV, or you're doing something with the kids or some other activity, and you get sidetracked, and maybe you pull your orders to ship out the next day. But you have to have like a time where you just sit down.
Yeah.
I do mine in the middle of the night because I'm a night owl.
Yeah.
So I'll do mine at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. No one's knocking on the door. I'll shut the door. and I'll close the door, turn the lights on, I'll listen to my music, get into my little zone, and just start cranking out some listings. So that's the whole thing, because you might have 1 week where your sales are up here, and then you don't list, and then it starts going down.
Yep.
So,
Definitely.
it's like you said, it's easy to do it. It's easy not to do. It just got to be a priority to you. So let me say hey to the Cap guy is in the chat. I wanted to say hey to this Overstuff House. Says, heck, I'm 55 and I want out of that kind of job. Says 2020, take my job, 10 to 15 hours a week. That'll motivate you to list. But yeah, like I said, even if your job tanks, there's other ways out there that you can work and make money. I mean, I work as a medical courier on the side. It is just an app on my phone. Anytime I want to work, I just log in and work. And anytime I want to be off, I can be off. Like I said, you can do a side gig, drive for Lyft or Uber. You could go deliver pizzas, and you could work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I bet you could probably make $500 to $600 a week doing that 3 nights a week delivering pizzas. Just as a side gig. It doesn't have to be a full-time job. Just something you do part-time on the side to make extra income. But there are ways where you're not handcuffed, as you said, where you felt like we're all factory workers in a way, is what you said on your YouTube channel, where it's like, even if we all don't work in a factory, we all get up and you leave one box to go to another box to make some other guy rich and work your 9 to 5. And then you go home and do it all over again. And it's like, you're helping this guy chase his dreams to help his kid take his kid on a family vacation to Disney World. And you're like, when do I get to spend time with my kid? I'm working, helping somebody else, live their dreams. And, it's like you said on your channel that all these other small businesses, somebody created it. Somebody's name is on the sign. They started that business and hired you. So do you want to talk a little bit about that? It's a little bit about your mindset of being an employee versus being self-employed.
Yeah, I mean, I just went over that with my wife yesterday when we were driving down. So she's probably so sick of me like doing these like motivational things that I do to her when she's stuck in the car with me. I do it to my daughter too, but we were driving down the freeway there, and I said, look at every single sign here, whether it's the Ford truck or the billboard, all of those. I don't know if I was trying to reassure her or reassure myself, but either way, I said all of those places started with just one guy or one lady that said, let's just try it. Let's just do it and see what happens. I think I can do like Ford. He said, I think I can do this better. Like the car, he didn't invent the car. He just took that and he just said, let's try this assembly line thing and see how that works. It could have failed on him, but it didn't, And so all these people, I mean, even just looking around at all the stuff on my, in my little shack of a storage area, all these things were invented by just one guy or maybe a couple friends come together and they just decide, hey, let's do it. And they did it. And I think, really, that's what's rare about being successful is it's not hard, but like I keep saying, it's just the fact of going and doing it. Like, I don't know if this is true or not, but this is what I tell my kids. So, you got Bill Gates, and he's a computer guy in the 70s, right? The 70s are tons of computer guys out there trying to do programming, and hey, these computers are cool, and they're probably into space and all this technology stuff. Well, how come Bill Gates succeeded? Why? And I bet it's because it's just like Michael Jordan. He had some natural ability, of course, but he was willing to sit and grind and shoot free throws over and over and over and over, just like Kobe Bryant. All these guys have really famous quotes about outworking people, and that's all they did. They had some natural ability. They recognized their natural ability. They were brave enough to say, hey, I'm going to try this, and then they just didn't stop. Now, I mean, at the same side, there's also people who have those things and failed too. But personally, I would rather be 60 or 70 or whenever I die and going, you know what? I didn't get to where I wanted, but at least I tried. You know, I took some
Right.
because to me the worst thing you can die with is that regret, knowing, oh dang it, I should have done this, or I should have gone here, I should have said this. I mean, when you get into an argument with someone, what do you always regret after it's over? You always think, dang it, I should have said this, or I should have said that. And it's that regret that'll always eat you, because you can never get back that moment. You know, time is like, you can get back your money, you can bet your health, but you can't get time back. Once it's gone, and it's always ticking. So, I mean, how are you going to do your time? Are you going to live life on your own terms? And sure, take a risk. And we might find a year from now that I have to sell my house because I can't make the house payment. And, you know, I got to move somewhere where it's cheaper, which I don't think very many places are cheaper than Utah. But, you know, there's got to be, I'll move to like Guadalajara or something. And, I don't know.
Well,
But I mean, that could happen.
Like you said, Dave, the job that you're leaving is a $15 an hour job. So if
Yeah.
worst comes to worst, you can always find another $15 an hour job to
Yeah.
replace that job that you left. I mean, I
Right.
was working a factory job for 10 years from 2006 to 2016. And the weird thing is, you were talking about a Stockholm syndrome. It almost felt like when you leave your corporate job, it's like you're leaving a part of an identity of who you were or who you used to be, because you're locked into that 9 to 5 job. You're used to saying, hey, I clock in at this time and I go home at this time. But yeah, like I was saying, if something happens, worst comes to worst, you could always get a side gig doing a part-time job or going back to get a full-time job. But the idea is to generate multiple streams of income. The way I look at eBay is, as long, you know, eBay is going to put out what you put into it. And as long as you follow the rules, you know, you said you consider yourself an eBay employee. As long as you follow the rules and you don't get kicked off eBay, you have this extra stream of income coming in every month for the rest of your life. So that's the way I look at it. Is some months it may be $5,000, some months it may be $7 or $8,000, some months it may be 2 or 3. But every month I have this extra stream of income coming in that, and as long as I'm reinvesting my money and I take care of the business, it's going to take care of me, you know. So that's kind of the way I look at it, is this extra stream of income. And as long as you follow the rules and you don't get kicked off the platform and you take care of your customers, you know, it's going to work for you, you know. So you know, I want to get back into talking into eBay a little bit. What would be your top 3 or 4 tips that you would give somebody if they were like in your shoes? Because you said that you're doing about 6 figures a year gross as an eBay reseller. Because I feel like there's 3 main things. There's sourcing, right? There's the shipping, and then there's the customer service part, right? Those are like your main 3 things that you have to do. So what would you, if you can kind of give us a little bit of a behind the scenes example, because on your videos, you say, you know, eBay is easy if you just put the work in. So talk a little bit about what is considered putting the work in, because you said there's a lot of amateur eBay sellers. So how do you kind of separate yourself from being an amateur or an average eBay seller to being a full-time reseller? So talk a little bit about that.
So in one of my videos, I talk about this, but as I was reading all these management books, right? I would read the books and then I'd go to work, and at work, it would be kind of like the lab portion of the classroom where you get to see all of the things you shouldn't do. Like at the job I had, they did all of the opposite of like, if you want happy employees, you got to be a servant leader. Well, they threatened the employees and made them go faster and didn't give a crap about their personal life. You know, they did all the opposite. So it was great. That job was great in teaching me what not to do. So it also taught me things like, there's a thing in business called lean, and it's just getting rid of the waste. So the first thing that I would do, as far as let's say your daily operations, is you don't have to have it minute by minute. I mean, if that's the kind of person you are, then do it, but you have to have a rough draft of what your day is going to do, when you're going to do each thing. Otherwise you won't do it. As much as you say, oh, I'll do it later, you won't. So no, this time is for this. Rough, you know, like I know somewhere between the 8 and 10, I'll be shipping somewhere in there. And then at 10, that's when the thrift store is open. At 10, I'm going to be in line at the thrift store, and I'm doing that till 11:30, unless I go to Walmart for some retail arbitrage. I'm usually home by 12. So I have a rough draft of my schedule. And then as far as if in one of my videos I show like my death pile, well, that had to get streamlined, because if you don't have your stuff organized, you don't know where anything is. And I learned that's another lesson I learned. I just had stuff on shelves. Not now, but before. So when I'd sell something, I might spend half an hour looking for it on all the shelves. Then I realized, hey, moron, get some totes and put some letters or some numbers or something and put that in your listing. Oh, geez. It was like, bing, of course. Now you sell something,
Yeah.
you go to box you grab it and you're done. It's easy. Even my kids, sometimes I'll have my kids go pull my order. So
Yeah.
streamline and make as many things as simple as you can. Have a listing area, have a shipping area. Just like now I have an area, and I'm kind of pointing to it over here, where all the incoming stuff that's unlisted. So I look right there and I can see, okay, I have this much that's unlisted. Then over here's all my listed stuff. Over here's all my orders that I pulled. And then this is the stuff on my left that you can't see, but that's the stuff that needs to be shipped later. So that's streamlined. The second thing, I would say a big thing, I hate game changer. I hate that, but game changer was finding ways to cut costs. So I learned how to source better. Like I I can still do a little, I will still do Amazon liquidation, but I'm not going to be stupid about it. Now I understand more like, okay, it's better to get a pallet size load than a package size load because the cost per item is less. Like you're learning cost per item and all these things I didn't know. I just learned, like I was just flying by the seat of my pants, just like I quit my job. Like, I don't know, let's just do it, see how it works out. So cost per item, keep that low. So source better. Don't be afraid to spend money. That was another big thing that helped me out. Was when I first started thrifting, I'd look at something that was $6 or $10, and I think, oh geez, that's $10. I don't want to spend that much. I mean, it might flip for 50 or 60, but I didn't want to spend 10 because that was a lot of money out of pocket. And I was so locked into the scarcity mindset of, if I spend 10, I might not get that back. Who cares? It's $10. You'll get it back. Just, work the system. But when I started out, I didn't understand that.
Right, it's so funny that you're afraid to let go of $10.
Yep.
It's funny because you have to. Something in your brain has to switch. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
The other way I cut a lot of costs was, I'm sure a lot of people know, but if they don't, on Pirate Ship, you can go to Pirate Ship. It integrates in with your eBay store, and that's dimensional shipping. I'm not sure in the weight. Maybe you know the weight. I want to say it's like 30 or 40 pounds, but if it's less than 18 by 18, and you throw that box in a bag. You ship box with a bag and it goes dimensional, and you save a lot. Just today I shipped, I forget what I shipped. 3 Pyrex dishes I shipped. It would have cost $35. I shipped it for $9.93. So, I mean, huge savings shipping dimensional shipping. As long as it fits those dimensions, I mean, that's a huge savings. And that also, not only are you saving money, but that means I can go out and source. I sell a lot of vintage Pyrex, these little Vision, they're like pots made out of glass. People love them for some reason, but I can pick those up for 50 cents, $1, and I'll sell like $50-$60 for a set or for a single pot. And you ship it for 10. I'm not getting rich off selling Pyrex, but it opens up another channel. And this is kind of a controversial. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to tell you, everybody in the chat says you just hit 1,000 subscribers, bro. So congratulations. Oh, nice. You just hit 1,000 subscribers. Thanks, while we're live on the air. So everybody's in the chat saying 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. So we're happy for you, bro. We really are. So thank you. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but thank you, man. Thank you for coming on. Go ahead.
Well, I want to thank you for having me on. It was like, I always wanted to be one of those. Wow, where'd it go?
I just put you on full screen. I didn't.
Oh, don't do that. I got to look at my face. Okay, that's embarrassing. I always wanted to be one of those guys that like got onto another YouTube channel, and I always looked at those guys, thought, wow, how can I be like cool like those guys? One of the cool kids. But it's actually, thanks a lot for letting me come on here and just talk to people. It's pretty awesome experience. Actually, I couldn't really sleep last night, to be honest. So excited,
It's okay. Everybody here is pretty laid back, but we're definitely glad to have you on today. But go ahead, continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's just everybody in the chat was going crazy with 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers. So everyone's happy for you. So we're happy that you did it, man. I know it's a lot of work. So, but go ahead. So you were talking about the pirate ship thing. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
So the first thing is simplify your process. Find a process, which a lot of people, if you really were to look at it, you don't have a process. You kind of just do what you do. You don't have to write it down, but get it in your head. This is what I do. These are my non-negotiables. I will not late ship. I will not do this. I will not do this, or I will always do this. So streamline your process. Come up with who you are as a seller, as a business. The next thing is find ways to save money. So pirate ship. I'm always looking for boxes. I used to get a ton of boxes from my old work, but that's no longer a thing. But like we were at our martial arts class, and it's like in a business park, and we were driving by one of those recycle dumpsters, and it was full to the top of boxes. So I said, kids, get out. Let's go get some boxes. And we filled the back of the truck up with all kinds of different shaped boxes. The boxes are expensive. And this guy's throwing them away. I'll take them all. I don't care. As long as there was something, it was like an auto parts place. Some had oil or Solomon. I didn't get those, but shoot, why not? And then I must have got 50 boxes. And that's not for the size and the strength of the boxes. It's not cheap to do that. Then I also have my neighbors saving me boxes. Don't be afraid. A lot of actually, Lonnie from Shed Flips I used to be like this shy eBayer. When you go to garage sales, you don't want anybody to know what you're doing, and you're buying 50. Like I bought like 160 Barbie dolls last week, and I was still like, no, I don't want to tell them what I'm doing. And they were asking me, "Oh, you resell?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, a little bit."
You gotta tell them, because
but you just feel ashamed or embarrassed. I don't know what it is, but it was weird.
But you're gonna even think it's more weird if you come home with like a couple thousand Barbie dolls. I'm like, yeah, I'm a grown man that collects Barbie dolls. So what do you got? You got to tell them. Like at that point, you have no choice, because they're gonna be like, they're gonna think you're some kind of weirdo if you don't tell them. Like, yeah, you got me. I'm a reseller. You just gotta own it and go on with it, bro. Go ahead.
Well, and Lonnie's video was screaming at me. It's just tell them what you do. It's fine. So then I told them. They're like, well, we have some other Barbies in the back that we didn't get out. We'll let you know. And they were like the collector version, whatever the heck. But they're not ready to release them yet. But they took my information, and that's a connection. And so ever since then, I've just been, this is what I do. And I actually have, talking about multiple sources of income. So you had Reyes the entrepreneur on. I saw on one of your videos, right?
Yeah. I'm friends with Reyes. I was actually on his channel a couple months ago.
Oh, that guy's awesome. He's the one that actually got me to push into doing eBay more seriously than I was back, a year or so ago when he was selling clothes. I started selling clothes, and that's how I got into it. I didn't do good with clothes, but anyway, he's very inspirational as far as hustling and trying new things. If this doesn't work, pivot and try this. So he had a video with some people who do like hauling and salvage. So then I thought that's a great job to do in conjunction with this, because if I can go out and clean out hoarder houses or clean out storage units, well, I'll just sell the stuff that's sellable on my eBay store, trash the rest, boom. And, so I got to, what is it? Is it Vistaprint? One of those that advertise it, get
to make the little business card,
$2. Yeah. So I came up with this idea. It's called Northern Utah Liquidation and Hauling. Yeah. So those business cards are coming the end of this week. And so when I go to garage sale, just here you go. If you ever have if you want to sell the whole garage sale to me later, we'll come by and we'll talk. But I did that because the Barbie guy was like, well, do you guys have a card? And I thought, whoa, he thinks that I'm like the caliber that would have a business card. Well, maybe I should have a business card, So I'm going to do that. And so that's one stream. There's also the other stream. Actually, we're kind of getting off topic, but
go ahead. We got a few minutes. Go ahead. I'll just let you
streamline
your thing.
If you guys ever do Amazon liquidation, you're going to end up with what I had was like new, open box, used, and really stuff that you don't want to sell. So I put that stuff aside. And I have probably 20 boxes of stuff in my other garage that's going to go to the swap meet. And I'm just going to drive it to the swap meet. It's probably an hour from here. It costs $5. You go, and everything in the box can be $1. Except buy everything for $1. It's just sitting back there. I was going to trash it anyway. Someone will buy that for $1. And if I sell $200 or $300 worth of stuff that was just sitting in my garage, why not? So go ahead.
I was going to say space is kind of a premium. You want to make sure you can serve enough space, and if you have stuff just sitting there taking up space, you got to do something with it. If it's just sitting there taking up space. So hey, let me say a few questions. Say hey to a few people in the chat. Ebliss Reseller Solutions says congratulations on 1,000. He said he's going to make it 1,001. He's about to subscribe now. Dave and Lori. They had them on, I think, last week or the week before. This Overstuff House says those connections matter. I gave a friend of mine a box of fabulous stuff a few days ago for Hope and Cleaner Kitchen and Pantry, checking expiration dates and cleaning. I wanted to say hey to 3 Gen Hustle. Wanted to say hey to Regina is here in the chat hanging out with us. This overstuffed house is here. And eBliss Reseller Solutions says, hey, Jeff, gone are the days of working 9 to 5. An awesome guest today, Dave and Lori. And I wanted to say hey to Cheap Fine Gold Mines. So go ahead. I just wanted to say hey to a few people in the chat. And I wanted to say hey to the Cap guy is here. So I wanted to say hey to the Cap guy. He says hit the like button. So thank you guys for being here. We appreciate you. And if you get a chance, go ahead and follow the eBay Hustler. So go ahead, man. I wanted to ask you a few questions before we let you go. Tell everybody where they can find you at on YouTube and Instagram.
Well, YouTube, it's the eBay Hustler, and on Instagram, it's the Bargain Warehouse 801, something like that. That was my. Oh, you got it in the box.
I got him linked down below. I wanted to say hey to Buffalo Picker. He just stopped in the chat. Hey, Buffalo, we appreciate you for coming by. So, yeah, go by and check him out on YouTube and Instagram. Go ahead. I'll let you talk. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
So the last thing I want to talk about is I'm really big on customer service. In fact, that was one of the main reasons I left my job. Was it wasn't that the actual, I loved my coworkers, but the fellow management staff were morons. They were abusive to the employees. They didn't serve the employees. And that's why, I mean, we lost probably about 35%, 40% of our employees in less than a year because of the way management was treating them. So customer service is very important. A lot of times it's really surprising when I'll sell something and I made a mistake, or it broke in the mail, whatever, the customer's mad and they send you one of those messages and they're pissed off and they're threatening to negative feedback, and you can tell they're mad, and you just say, whoa, keep it, I'll refund it. And they immediately apologize. And it's weird about eBay. It kind of is like the garage sale of the internet. I think it still has that reputation of a place where scammers are. And I personally haven't been scammed. I don't know, maybe I have, by these people that call, message and complain. But like I said before, I don't care. Like now I have to make money now because there's no plan B. But my point is, I'm not going to jeopardize my now career, profession, job, and try to make some sort of point with some dude on the internet that legitimately got a bad item from me. Like, I don't understand people that'll be like, no, I'm not refunding it. No, I'm not accepting your. Why not? Why? For what? For $20 for your ego? Just who cares? And that's easy to say, but for me, it makes me mad when someone lays into you and they're calling you this or that, or you might think they're scamming you or whatever it is,
Yeah,
but
I'm with you.
At the end of the day, it's still my bad.
Yeah, I try to keep low cost of goods. Like, for example, I paid 50 cents for this DVD and it just sold for $20. So if the guy calls you back and says, hey, I need to get a refund, well, I only have 50 cents tied up in the item. Yeah, so it's not the end of the world. So if something does that happen, it's more important to have 100% feedback on your store than it is to arm wrestle a guy over $20. It's $20.
Exactly. Right.
So, and my look at it is, I've got maybe 50 cents tied up in this item. And I'm trying to, I want to keep the guy happy because I want to have repeat customers. I want to have repeat customers come back to my eBay store every week, every 2 weeks, every month and buy something. And if you piss them off, they're not going to come back and be a repeat customer. So kind of what you were saying is that, like, they don't know you personally. The only thing they have to go by is your little feedback score on eBay. So if me and you are selling the same video game and I have a 94.5 feedback and you're 100 feedback, and we're both selling the same video game for $20, even if you're charging $20 plus shipping and mine's $20 free shipping, they're more than likely going to buy from you instead of me because you have 100% feedback. So you have to think more long term instead of just thinking about, hey, I just need to make a quick buck and make a quick paycheck right now. You need to think about, hey, this guy can be a repeat customer. I'm going to treat him as if he's going to be a repeat customer. Yeah. So that would be important as well. So eBay Hustler, man, we've had you on the live stream for about an hour. Go ahead and give us your final thoughts and we'll get you out of here, man. I'll let you get back to spending time with your family.
I mean, I think I've said a lot so far. I told you I'm going to turn into one of those old guys that talks too much you can't get rid of off your front porch. But
I'm telling you, man, you remind me a lot. If you don't know who the Lone Star Picker is, you remind me a lot of them. So if you get a chance later, you should check out the channel. Just the way you talk, you remind me a lot of the Lone Star Picker. So go ahead.
I just thanks everybody for watching and for subscribing. And if I can, there's nothing special about me. I just got like, you know, Dave Ramsey says you just get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I got sick of just working with people who, I don't mean this to sound prideful, but I knew I was better than them. I knew that I was treated the employees better than they did, and they didn't give a crap, and they still got ahead of me because they had been there longer. And that's just the way that a lot of these businesses work, where it doesn't matter really how much you do. It matters who you know, or what gender, what race, whatever it is. Certain people get ahead and certain people don't. And maybe I was too outspoken. I don't know what the problem was, but it doesn't matter now, because now I'm my own boss, and none of those things matter. And eBay, and it's not just about eBay only, but any e-commerce you do, any business you do on your own, you have to remember that, and I had to do this too, you got to let go of all that stuff from the past. And if you, this was so good about e-commerce, is it's still like pretty much unadulterated capitalism, to where if you're willing to work harder than the next guy and sell better stuff and provide a better service, you're going to do better. There's no checks on you. There's no boss that likes this guy better than you because he plays baseball on the weekends with him. None of this stuff. It's, if you're willing to out hustle, then you're going to do better in general. I mean, sure, there's glitches, I guess, but in general, when you work for yourself, if you hustle harder, you'll do better. That's why I like it. It's kind of like the Wild West. It's, yeah.
Awesome, guys. So if you guys aren't subscribed, I have his links down below in the description below. He just hit 1,000 subscribers, so everybody here in the chat, everybody in the community is happy for you. So go give Dave a follow, all the way from Utah. He's a full-time reseller, six-figure a year gross on eBay. So go ahead and give him a follow. And I wanted to thank our guests for coming on today. I want to thank everybody in the chat for hanging out with us today. And I will see you guys tomorrow. You all have a great day. I'll see you then. Bye, everybody.
See ya. Thanks.